The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Chicken head, chicken feet, chicken necks is all I eat.
Hello everybody, it's Friday and that means another edition of Bucket Full of Chicken Necks. It's a little later in the evening on Friday. I usually try to do this in the morning or the afternoon to get it off of my plate. Right now here in Colorado, it's almost 7 o'clock at night. So this, this surely is not going to post till tomorrow at the earliest. I've been behind the eight ball a little bit this week. I've been very busy. My son Will and his girlfriend Molly came in from out of town. They live in Atlanta. I haven't seen him since November, so I wanted to spend as much time as I possibly could with him and the family. So that's kind of set me back a little bit as it pertains to everything on VinceRussoBrand.com, and I hope you understand that. But listen, man, family's got to come first, and I preach that all the time. But, here I am. I'm going to get it done anyway. It's been a crazy week. We've been trying to do something with them every single day. Monday we opened it up with, and I don't want to be redundant here, and I don't want to repeat myself. I know I spoke a little bit about it. I'll also going to speak a little bit about it in Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt, which I don't think is the second part has been posted yet. But, Monday I took the family to the Billy Corgan, Marilyn Manson concert. And we had a really, really good time. Listen, man, I can't say enough about Billy Corgan, and I don't want to be repetitive here because I've said it before, but I just have to be honest with you. Being in the wrestling business for as long as I have, I've met so many people and I've met so many celebrities. And this guy, man, is just the most sincere, gracious, just one of the kindest human beings I've ever met. It has nothing to do with him being a celebrity and, the guy behind the Smashing Pumpkins. I could care less about that. Listen, I've said it. I'm not a Smashing Pumpkins fan. Yes, so that has nothing to do with it. I'm talking about the man. I'm talking about the way this guy treats me and my family every time I see him. It's only the second time I've spent time with him, but I can't say enough about this guy. Listen, I'll tell you what I'm hoping for, and I'm not going to lie to you. Billy Corgan working within the structure of TNA and Dixie Carter and John Gaborick is, in my opinion, it is absolutely ridiculous. I worked for those people at TNA. I've spent time with Billy Corgan. They're in two different worlds. I mean, two different atmospheres. I mean, the train of thought and the level of genius and the level of creativity between Billy and the people that he's working for, I don't think they're capable of understanding it. I'm going to be totally honest with you. And I feel that his talent is just going to be wasted. Look, I know how Dixie Carter is. And at the end of the day, it's a big deal to her that, Billy Corgan, the mastermind behind the Smashing Pumpkins, is working for me. I know that's a big deal for her. But him working in that organization, I have to say this, it's probably the biggest waste of talent I've ever seen in my life. If you're going to have a guy like Billy Corgan involved in wrestling, he needs to run his own promotion. He needs to have his own company, or somebody needs to kind of start a new wrestling promotion and just give Billy, the helms creatively if that's what they choose to do. I would love to see this guy start his own wrestling company. I'm just telling you, because first and foremost, I know I'd be working there. I know that he understands me and he knows where I'm coming from and he respects me and I respect him. And I know together, I think we could do some great things. And I'll be honest with you, that's what I hope for. In my opinion, I think TNA is doomed. I think it's over. I think it's been over. The numbers coming in the way they do every week is not helping the cause. And there's nothing this guy can do. At this point in TNA, there's nothing he could do. Even if they let him run the entire ship, which isn't going to happen, he doesn't have enough time. There's not enough time. But my prayer is that one day, I know Billy loves wrestling, and I would love to see him own his own company, and I would love to be a part of that company. I'm not going to lie to you. And so again, Billy, I love you. Thank you for treating my family the way you do. You are just a special person and a great, great influence on my life. I want to talk about the second half of the concert. I want to talk about Marilyn Manson. Listen, I was excited to see Manson. This guy is a performer. This guy is a character. This guy is a gimmick. And I got to tell you, he went out there and he performed, and he went out there and did his shtick, and, the theatrics out the yin yang. And it was very, very entertaining. Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I agree with the burning of the Holy Bible, but I also have to tell you I'm pretty confident it's just part of the show and part of the shtick. But if it's not, listen, we all have free will to do whatever we want to do. If Marilyn Manson deep down doesn't believe there's a God and there's a Jesus, and he wants to burn the Bible and talk about Jesus and Antichrist superstar, whatever he wants to do, that's totally up to him. Somebody asked me the other day, Vince, you went to that concert. Were you offended by any of that? And I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't offended. The guy can do whatever he wants to do. We all have free will. We all make our own decisions. Was it uncomfortable for me at times? Absolutely it was. Listen, when a guy's burning the Bible, it's uncomfortable. And yes, that was uncomfortable for me. That was supposed to make me uncomfortable. So, mission accomplished. But again, the guy's a great performer, and the guy's a great entertainer. I'm not a fan of his music. I think in my life I owned one Marilyn Manson CD, but that's it. I mean, I had one, the one with the dope show, Human Animals, I think it might have been. I don't even remember the name. But anyway, I love great performances. I love people that get it. I love people that are different, and he certainly falls in that category. And speaking of people that are different, let's start looking at the news a little bit today. And, Caitlyn Jenner. Listen, ESPN wasn't kidding anybody when they, extended an award to Caitlyn Jenner. I think it was the Arthur Ashe Award, on their SB show. They knew putting Caitlyn on the show was going to draw a huge number. And the show is usually on ESPN. And this year it was on ABC. So, everybody knew what they were doing, putting Caitlyn on the show. But listen, I got to tell you, I was kind of surprised it wasn't promoted more than it was. I'll be honest with you. I missed the live airing. I forgot that it was on. I didn't know when it was on. And maybe I haven't been watching a lot of TV. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't see it live. I literally saw it online about a day or two after. So, that's just a little bit confusing to me. ESPN is going to give Caitlyn this award. We're going to go on ABC, but I mean, we're not going to advertise the crap out of it. Maybe they were trying to be responsible and didn't want to make it seem too obvious. But it was clear to everybody why Caitlyn Jenner was receiving that award. But, I watched it. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what to think when I see this. I mean, I really don't. I don't have a problem with what, Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner is doing. Listen, bro, whatever beats your drum. Listen, the Bible tells us what's right and what's wrong. But at that point, you decide if you want to follow it and obey it or not. It's not up to me. It's up to you. Then when you make that decision, it's not up to me to judge you. So when I tell you I don't have a problem with it, I really don't have a problem with it. I just don't know what to make of it. I mean, I just don't. And I've told you before, I'm completely mesmerized by it. And it's weird though, bro, because I was watching like clips for the show coming up. I Am Caitlyn, it's called, or something like that. It's coming up on I think it's starting like the July 26th or something, like right around the corner. And, the clips, like you could see, Jen is starting to talk like a woman. And, again, I don't know how this works. I don't know if it's hormones to talk like a woman. I don't know what it is. But when she's up there, giving the speech at ESPN, it was Bruce Jenner talking. It was Bruce Jenner voice. It wasn't a different female voice. And then when you see the coming attractions to the series, which were obviously shot before the ESPYs, she's trying to talk like a woman. So it's just like the whole thing is very confusing to me. Then, the family's there, and I don't know, man. I don't know. It's great television. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It's just, I don't know. It's the car wreck you can't take your eyes off of. I guess that's what it is. But anyway, here was a car wreck that I'm really pissed off about, and I'm going to be 1,000% totally honest with you. I was in Denver today, and I was in a bookstore today, and I go through the magazines like I always do. I'll tell you what I like to look at. I like to look at, first of all, the gossip rags. I love the headlines of the Inquirer, and every time I have to pick it up and find the lead story, I love that. They get me every single time with that. I love looking at the Peoples and the Us's and all those magazines. Then I'll usually see what's going on in sports. Then, believe it or not, I like looking at tattoo magazines. I like the tattoo work that some people get done. I think that's absolutely amazing. But first and foremost, my most favorite section probably to go to is the music section. So I always go to music section, see what's going on, etc. And I got to tell you, man, listen, maybe it's petty, and maybe I am being petty, but Kim Kardashian was on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And like that really, 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 really pissed me off. I mean, it just really did. Now, listen, I know hundreds of people have graced the cover of that magazine that are not musicians. I think I got a Rolling Stone in the can right now that Aaliyah Dunham from Girls, I think she's on the cover of the magazine. I mean, obviously, Howard Stern's been on the cover of the magazines. Actors and actresses out the yin yang have been on the cover of the magazine, and of course with great musicians. And when I saw Kim Kardashian on the cover of Rolling Stone, it just freaking rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, I'm sorry, because I don't know what this girl has ever done. If you have a talent, you have a talent. I'll be the first one to applaud your talent. If it's a talent that interests me or that I'm entertained by, I'm sure some of my dollars will go through to that talent. But to this day, I don't know what this girl has done. And, being on the cover of, Glamour and whatever those other Mademoiselle and those Tootsie Fruitsy fashion magazines are, I mean, that's one thing. The chick's into fashion. She's an attractive girl. She's got a, unique body. Let me put it that way. Being on the cover of every fashion magazine, I don't have a problem with. But like, this is Rolling Stone, man. I mean, the greatest rock and roll musicians in the history of the planet have been on the cover of this magazine. I mean, everyone from, the Beatles, to the Stones, to Elvis, to Janis Joplin, to Bob Dylan, to Neil Young. I can go on and on. AC/DC, who's been on the cover of this magazine, even Chris, for crying out loud, Kiss. And to see her on the cover of Rolling Stone, that's a bad choice. I mean, I got to be honest with you. That's a choice almost to the point of like, I don't even want to buy Rolling Stone anymore. It's going to take me a little while to get over this. But listen, I understand we're all in the we want to sell magazine business. I completely understand, and I completely get that. But Rolling Stone is an institution, and it's a rock and roll institution. And I'm sorry, man, that That just totally rubbed me the wrong way. Also today, I got to tell you, I was watching, TMZ, and there were film clips from the marriage boot camp. And supposedly, I guess on tonight's episode, Hank Bassett is finally supposed to tell Kendra Wilkins what happened with that transsexual. The guy has never told the story, and he's dragging it out. Finally, they had some clips as a tease, and tonight's the night that Hank's going to tell Kendra the story of what happened with this whatever it was, transsexual, right? I got to tell you, man, I watch Kendra on Top here and there, and I watch Marriage Boot Camp here and there. I've seen a lot of this couple. I have to be honest. I'm the first one, and I come on here and I tell you all the time, like I cry over everything. Like if I go to a sappy movie, I cry. You know that, like when I go to concerts, I cry. I cried. Today's Friday. On Wednesday, I cried over an episode of All in the Family. And my wife turned to me and said, "You got to be freaking kidding me." And I cried over All in the Family. So I'm constantly crying. All right, I'll be honest with you. But this Hank Bassett, I mean, he's Vince Russo like times 100. Every time this guy is on the screen, he's crying and the tears are coming out. And Kendra, I'm so sorry. Kendra, I love you. Kendra, I love my family. I am so convinced now that he is an absolute work. And the guy is so freaking guilty of whatever it is that he did with this transsexual that every time he gets questioned or she puts him in the corner, he blames it on depression and this and that, the other thing. And the tears start falling like a woman. I've never seen anybody cry as much as this guy. And listen, this guy's a professional football player. He played football for a living. Okay. I'm sorry. Football players don't cry, in my opinion. So I think this is an absolute work, but I am also absolutely intrigued by the story. I want to hear the story. I want to hear what happened. I've been getting teased for the last year or 2 years. Now we're going to finally find out what happened, and I'll talk about that when it comes out. There's a couple of things I want to talk about too, personal, that I might as well get into. Let me have a little sip of my Coke Zero. Coke Zero is the only soda that I drink. I just endorsed Coke Zero. I told you my son Will's in from out of town. He lives in Atlanta, and he lives with his girlfriend Molly. He's been going out with Molly. I think they've been going out for 10 years. Okay, so now Will is 28 years old. And now, before you get to that, let me go through a couple of things. Will's 28 years old. VJ's 25 years old. Annie is 20 years old. Okay? Will and Annie, I'm just going to say this. Never put their hands in their pockets. Ever put their hands in their pocket. Now, listen, when they're young and they're teenagers and they're in college, I have absolutely no problem with that. But when Will comes to visit, 28 years old, listen, my kids know I'm not working like I used to work. They know I'm not making, Vince Russo money circa 2000. That was a very, very long time ago. And they know I'm doing everything to build a podcast and build a brand and try to make a living that way. So you think like once in a while we go out to dinner or we go to get the coffee. Today we got a little nice gyro. You think once in a while Will put his hand in his pocket. No, never have. The hand never goes in the pocket. Dad's paying for everything with money that he doesn't have. And you know me, I'm cha-chinging in my head with everything. I'm ordering the cheapest item on the menu, whether I want it or not, because I'm trying to keep my bills down. That's the way it works. But I would think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I would think by 28 years old, like this is over. Like I'm a man now. And I'm not going to make my father pay for everything. I know he's not. But no, every time. And Annie, forget it at 20 years old. I mean, absolutely fair. But I got to say this thing. The 19th century man, he's the only one. Listen, he don't have a lot of money, but he's very generous. He'll buy me an album and bring me an album and surprise me. Or if he sees something he thinks I'll like, he'll pick it up. He'll take me out for coffee. He's the complete opposite of the other two. The complete opposite. Will's just cheap. He's just downright cheap. And Annie just only buys things that she wants. That's it. If it's anything else, if it's food or a car or something she needs, that's on me. But anyway, so he's 28 years old. He's been going out with this Molly for 10 years now. And now he's walking around with an engagement ring in his pocket. After 10 years, he's ready to pop the question. And I got to tell you, listen, this cracks me up because it reeks so much of me that, like, it's not even funny. And, as his father, like, I'm supposed to now be the adult and, take the adult point of view. But, like, I'm right there with him on all the things that he's talking about. And I'm like kind of egging him on when I really shouldn't be egging him on. I'll give you the perfect example. He's walking around with the ring in his pocket, looking for the right time to pop the question. And he's really, really, really nervous. So, like, he's talking to me about it, and I'm just saying, listen, bro, you're overthinking this. I said, you're overthinking. I said, listen, let's make it simple. I said, listen, we were in Estes Park, which is a big tourist trap here in Colorado. So, it's got a street of all these little shops, I said, bro, take the ring out, right? I said, ask Molly if she wants a Coke. I said, you buy her a Coke. I said, you take the ring, you put the ring on the neck of the bottle, and you give it a Coke. Here, Ma, here's your Coke. She sees the ring. We're done with it. Simple. We keep it simple. The Coke on the neck of the bottle. Here, Ma, will you marry me? End of story, right? So, I don't know, this, that, and the other thing. And then he goes, one of the things I do like about that is, he goes, I don't like the whole knee thing. Like, the whole knee thing is absolutely overrated. I don't want to do the knee thing. And here I am. And I said, bro, I agree with you 1,000%. The knee thing is ridiculous. I said, what is the knee thing representing? That you're begging this chick to marry you, that we have to drop to one knee? I didn't drop at one knee. I proposed to my wife at a Chinese restaurant over dinner. I had the ring in my pocket, took the ring out, slapped it out on the table, asked the question. There was no dropping to some knee. I've known guys, and I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I know guys that have literally, like, gone to the spot before they did it, and they went through the motions, and I'm going to sit her here and I'm going to kneel here. Give me bro, that is so sissy Mary. It's not even funny. So Will's saying, I don't want to do the knee thing. So I said, I agree with you. Eliminate the knee thing. Don't do the knee thing. The knee thing's ridiculous. Put it on the Coke bottle. Give her the Coke bottle. We'll be done with it. He didn't like the Coke bottle idea. So then, and hear what he's telling me, which I think, like, it's, when he's telling me this, I'm saying, yeah, that's my boy, because, like, this is the way I think. And he goes, Dad, you know what's really bothering me more than anything? And I said, what? He goes, like, the whole aftermath. He said the whole with the people, how did you do it? Where did you do it? What did you say? The whole having to relive this thing over and over again to her family and her friends. And I got to go through this whole thing. He goes, I don't like want to deal with that. He goes, I want to do it, and I kind of want it to be over. So I said, bro, I hear you. I said, who wants to tell the story 1,000 times? I said, that's why you can't give her a story to tell. There has to be no story. It's got to almost be something that she's absolutely embarrassed of. I remember there was an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond where Robert, the brother, was getting married, and his wife was trying to get him all involved in the wedding. So Raymond, the younger brother said, Robert, listen, one of the things she wanted Robert to do was take care of the invitation. So she said, Robert, listen, mess up the invitations, mess them up completely, and then she will never ask you to do anything again when it relates to the wedding. So that's what Robert did, messed up the invitations. I mean, just everything was wrong in hopes that she would just not involve him in the wedding whatsoever. So I'm trying to tell Will the same thing. Keep it simple. Don't create a story to tell. Put it on the Coke bottle and give her the bottle, because now she's going to be too embarrassed to tell anybody. You're not going to have to repeat the story, and it's going to be over and done with. But, like, here's the thing. He's been here Sunday now. They got here Sunday night. I know they're leaving Sunday night, and I know he hasn't done it yet. So I know in his mind he's starting to freak out, because tomorrow is Saturday. So he's going to have Saturday and Sunday, and, like, that's it. But, here's another thing. Not for anything. I can understand the nervousness of getting engaged and asking somebody to marry you and spend the rest of their life with you. I get it. But we have to understand, he's been with this girl for 10 years. I mean, they live together. They have a cat and a dog. So, I mean, by all intents and purposes, they are married. So I don't I don't understand, but he's getting down to the wire. I'll tell you how that thing turns out. Last but not least, I want to talk about this. Realm the other day got a letter from a member of the brand, and this person decided to try the brand for $2.99. And as you guys know, with the Realm Network, we did it $2.99 for a month, and then it went to the regular price of $4.99. And because people preferred it that way, it automatically rolls you over. So you don't have to renew it every month. And people were telling us that's what they wanted. So that's why Realm went to the system. And of course, you could cancel at any time. You just don't have to worry about renewing every month. So supposedly this guy tried it for $2.99. Then what happened was he forgot to cancel because he wanted to cancel, and it rolled over. So, he was talking to Realm saying, well, since it rolled over, you stopped my account. I should get the full month, or I should get a full refund, the full $4.99 refund, whatever, right? So he points out two things in this. He says, first of all, with the Vixens Who Rule show, it's very creepy. Vince is very creepy. And then he goes, and another thing, he goes, I got this to hear what the wrestlers have to say. And it's 70% of Vince rambling on. Okay. So now in my mind, it is clear to me, this guy's not a Vince Russo fan. Maybe there was an interview he wanted to see and he paid the $2.99 for it, but he was definitely not a Vince Russo fan. So I turn around and I answer this guy's email very nicely, very professionally, and I explained to him. I said, listen, bro, I don't know exactly what you mean by the creepy of the Vixens Who Rule is creepy. I said, but when I have the women on the show and I explain to them, I'm happily married. I've been married for 32 years, never cheated on my wife. There may be some flirting involved, but I'm absolutely harmless. When I do that with the female guest, it's part of my shtick, bro. It's part of the act. It's part of the routine because my podcast is show business. And then, the 70% rambling on, like I didn't even address that. But I said, listen, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you think I'm creepy. We'll give you a refund, whatever it is that you want, right? So now the guy writes me back, and the guy writes like half a book of criticisms of my show. Now, let me make you understand this. Here's a guy that paid $2.99 for the Vince Russo brand. So he listens to a couple of interviews with the Vince Russo brand and then writes a full essay of critiquing me and my shows. So he starts with okay, Vince, when you bring these girls on the show and you go through that whole thing about you're married and you're homeless and this and that, you're creepy. You're creepy, Vince. He goes, I understand that you're trying to do it to make the women who come on your show comfortable. I understand that. But you're not making them comfortable. You're creeping them out. So I said, listen, Chuck, whatever your name is, now the guy's getting me hot. And I'm like, first of all, 95% on the women that come on the show know me. They know who Vince Russo is. They've worked with Vince Russo. We've spent time together. So I would highly doubt after working with an Angelina Love or a Tara or a Velvet Sky or girls of this nature, Medusa, I would severely doubt I'm creeping these girls out because they know who I am. So like that's number one, bro. You're talking out of school. It's not to make them more comfortable. It's my shtick. It's freaking comedy, right? So then he goes on to say, well, that I paid the $2.99 because I wanted to hear what these wrestlers had to say about their career. I honestly, didn't want to hear about you and hear your rambling on of everything you did in the business and this, that, and the other thing. So the guy's critiquing me in my show now after paying for my show. So now, now I'm getting hot, but I'm trying to stay professional. So I explained to the guy, I said, you know what, bro? I said, let me explain something to you. I said, I've been a Howard Stern fan since 1983. 93, 2003, 2013, 32 years. I've been a fan of the Howard Stern Show. Why? Because I'm a fan of Howard Stern. When Howard Stern was on Sirius, I paid. When Howard Stern was on demand, I paid. I paid to see Howard Stern on the Howard Stern Show. So therefore, I cared what Howard Stern had to say. I said, whatever guest Howard Stern brought on the show, I said, it didn't matter. I could have cared less. Whoever he brought on the show was interesting to me. I was buying the show because of Howard Stern. So I tried to explain to the guy, bro, this is Vince Russo's brand. You're subscribing to this show because you're a fan of Vince Russo and you want to hear what Vince Russo has to say. So yeah, Vince Russo's probably going to ramble for 70% of the show. I said, the fact of the matter is you're not a fan of mine, and you took this as an opportunity to criticize me. And I said, I'll be honest with you, bro. You should not be subscribing to this show. This show isn't for you. You're not a fan like me, of mine. You're obviously not understanding what I'm trying to do. Don't subscribe to the show. It's plain and simple and that easy. So, you know, the guy never wrote back to me, and I was nice about it, guys. I did not cut a promo on the guy or any language or nothing like that. I just basically said, look, you're clearly not a friend of not a fan of mine. You should not be subscribing to the show. If you can't stand Vince Russo talking, you are definitely in the wrong place. So, you know, again, listen, bro, this is for everybody out there. And you people subscribe if you're watching. If you don't like me, don't subscribe to my show. I don't know what else to say, but, you know, to pay the money and then send in emails where you're critiquing what I do, why the frick are you paying and watching the show for? I'm hoping that as members of the brand, you know, you are being entertained by the show. You are being entertained by what we do here. You do understand my shtick, because all I'm trying to do is entertain you in a freaking genre that everybody takes so seriously that it's just gotten to the point of being ridiculous. These interviews I read by wrestlers every week and people in the business, they've gotten to be so ridiculous. As I said, the only thing that's going to save the wrestling business is they just need to blanket it with, this is a parody of the wrestling business. This is a comedy and an exaggerated look at the wrestling business. That's the only thing they could do to save the wrestling business, because everything has just become hysterical to me. The seriousness over fake fights and rating the matches and fake matches going 20 minutes on Raw. I mean, it's preposterous. And that's why you have this show, for crying out loud, because somebody has to say it. So hopefully you're watching my show because you agree with a lot of my thoughts and a lot of my insights. And I don't just critique the problem. I tell you what they should do. I tell them what they should do. I have no problem doing it. I'm not the guy that's going to sit back and say, this stinks, that stinks, everybody stinks, I'm going home, good night. I sit there and I break down what the problem was, what they could have done differently, what might have worked better. I do that every single time. So, you know, if you don't want to hear Vince Russo ramble for 70 minutes, don't subscribe to my show. Nobody's holding the gun to your head. I only want people that to subscribe to this show that get me and that understand me and that know at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is entertain. And speaking of entertainment, next week for you, the brand, a very entertaining week. There's so much going on next week. I want to share some things with you now that, and you know, I always tell you first. I don't tell everybody else. First of all, next week we're going to premiere the Sarah Russo show, Dirty Talk with Sarah Russo on the Vince Russo channel. She's going to be talking to the drummer from Alien Ant Farm. And not bad for a first try. I mean, I produced the show, but Sarah's a great girl, a beautiful girl. She does all the interviews in a lingerie. Yes, part of the shtick, and I arranged that for you, for your entertainment. So we're going to preview that show next week. We also have next week. I finally got the Bubba interview up. I finally going to put Vampiro up. Shark Boy's going to unmask Monday night. Shark Boy is going to be revealed to the world. Bill DeMott is joining our channel with his own podcast. We'll probably get Bill up and running, I'd say, by August 1st. So Bill will be up and running August 1st. There's something else I want to share with you. This is the first. I've not said this anywhere yet, but I have an opportunity here in Denver. They're going to give me an opportunity on terrestrial radio, the iHeart Radio network, where they're going to let me do a wrestling show on radio. And it looks like it's going to be Saturday nights. It looks like the debut show is going to be August 22nd, but we're still talking about that. So the idea is terrestrial radio, start here in Denver. The iHeart Radio network is huge around the world. So the idea is let's start in here, right home in Denver. Let's see how it does. If it's everything we think it will be, then we'll just, grow that show out into the rest of the country. This is a big deal for me. This is an absolutely big deal for the brand all around. Something I'm very excited about. Listen, I just told you a couple of minutes ago, Howard Stern has always been like my idol and my role model and somebody I've always admired. If I had a choice to do whatever it is I wanted in life, I would have took the same exact path he did. As in 1991, I did radio for the first time. I really loved radio. I enjoyed radio, but I was taken down a path of, WWE and, for the next 20, 25 years, I just went on this journey, but I always loved Howard. I always loved what he did. I always loved his interviewing style of people. And I always knew deep down inside, man, if I could ever have that opportunity to have that kind of a show, it would absolutely be my dream job. So having the opportunity to do this with iHeartRadio really, really means a lot to me and can be a huge stepping stone for the brand. As I said, right now, we're looking at Saturday, August 22nd. As we get closer, I'll let you know. But that's it. Listen, I want to thank you for being patient this week. Like I said, a little behind the eight ball with everything happening with the family. I got to spend quality time, and I thank you for that. And that's why I'm going to make sure, we really, really, really load it up next week. I'm going to start another feature next week where I'm going to start interviewing the brand. I'm just going to randomly start selecting people and contacting them, and I'm going to interview them. I'm going to interview the fans, the wrestling fans, because one-on-one, I want to hear what they have to say. So I'm going to start that feature next week as well. And of course, as you know, this is a family affair. If there's anything you'd like to see, by all means, please let me know. I appreciate your support. Jeff appreciates your support. And, the Amazon thing again, if you ever order through Amazon, just go through our site. It really helps us out. But that's it for now. Me and Jeff will be back on Tuesday with Raw the day after. We're going to look at the current Raw. I'll let you know what we think about it. I think on Monday we're going to kick off, Sarah Dirty Talk with Sarah Russo. You might want to look out for that. But so many things happening. Like my head is spinning literally by doing all this podcast and all this work. And don't forget Sunday night, a very special show with me and Pastor Dave about life. We usually do that late Sunday night. And I tell you, it's the most important show on this network every single week. But that's it. I'll be back. I'll fill you in. I'll let you know what happens with my son. 2 days left, back against the wall. Fill you in on that, let you know what's going to happen. But until then, everybody, thank you for your support, and I will catch you all on the rebound. Have a great, great weekend.
The preceding presentation was brought to you by the Realm Network.